Check. Allow me to reintroduce myself. Check. Mic check. So welcome to this amazing session, people, where we tell you who we are, because a lot of you have been asking, who is Savo and what does Savo do? So Savo is a real estate investment company that designs, sells, builds and manages affordable, amazing apartments. You have 6 complete projects here in Nairobi, starting with Laser Place Rongai, then 90 Degrees by Savo, then Coral Bells by Savo in Thedegwa, then Savo Studios back in Embakasi. We went to Roysambu with Royal Suburbs, and then Savo Skywalk in Gong Road, and of course our up-and-coming baby, Savo Sunset. So thank you guys for your time, and I can't wait for me to tell you more about us. See you next time, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, the golden rule in real estate investment is location, location, location. You can change the fixtures of a building, but you can never change the location of a building. That's why we at Savo are very particular about the locations which we choose to do our development. This Friday from 2 p.m. we'll be launching our newest project located along Thika Road near USIU. This will be an amazing opportunity for you to learn more about the property, and I assure you this is an ideal investment opportunity for you. So join us on Friday from 2 p.m. to learn more about the location and the prices. See you there.
A very warm welcome to everyone who's watching us today. I think we have an amazing opportunity here. Leo, bana, I am under the weather, but we continue. So I think today is an amazing day. I know we have a lot of people at home today. For those who are working, we have Savorites here in the building. We just want to say a very huge thank you to everyone who's taken time to watch us and to join this live. So today we have an amazing opportunity. We have our directors here with us. And before we go further, we want to, of course, appreciate all our Muslims. And of course, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And Eid Mubarak to every Muslim who is watching us. We recognize Savo as a multinational and also a multi-religious community. And so, yeah, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our founders, Emily Mcharo and Leonard Mcharo. Wanaweza sema maneno machache, alafu Emily atatuombea.
Start. Nice to be here. I used to be here every week, but nowadays I'm hardly ever here, and it's so nice to be with all of you. We hope that our involvement will add some value to everyone.
Yeah, thanks again.
I'm Leonard Mcharo.
Yeah, and I'm Emily Mcharo, and nice to be here. Yes, we used to do this every Friday. We used to have Fire Friday. Yes, but yeah, we are glad that the rest of the Savorites now are able to run with this. And nice Eid. I can't say what Martha has said. Eid Mubarak. Yes, to all our Muslim friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Emily can
pray.
Pray.
So let's pray. Lord, we thank you for this day. We come before you this afternoon, and we're grateful for the gift of life. We're grateful for allowing us to be here today, even to run this session. We thank you for all our investors, wherever they are. We thank you for those who have joined us. We thank you that you continue to bless us, as a Savo, all our Savorites, our investors, our residents, and the Savorites who work with us. We thank you because we continue to see your goodness, we continue to see your mercy, and we continue to see your faithfulness. We commit this session into your hands. We pray that you will be with us. We pray for your wisdom, and we pray that we will remain committed to this purpose. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you so much, Emily. Once you see the founders here, you know there's something great cooking. So today there'll be a lot of wisdom shared. There'll be a lot of vision that will be clarified. And of course, we want to make this session very interactive. I can see so many people have logged in. Sijui leo nitawataja. Please, sameheni sauti yangu, but itarudi. I can see Donna Mwiti, I can see Agnes Wanjiru, I can see Rosie Rungo, I can see Fanuel Ka Wanjiru, I can see Luke Okello, I can see Cliff, I can see Cynthia, I can see Beatrice, I can see Maureen, I can see Thomas. Of course, keep your questions coming. Leo ni kumoto manze. So we want to make it as interactive as possible. We want to have all your unanswered questions answered today. And we also want to, give you clarity of who Savo is, of why Savo exists, of who are the people behind Savo, or what was the vision behind Savo. And so just to, take it back to our founders, we've been in existence for 8 years. I think that's an amazing journey. It has been incredible. I speak as a Savorite. It has been an amazing journey. But maybe just to hear from what you guys, was this the vision? Is this what you saw when we started Savo back then in 2015?
Okay. So when we started Savo, of course, after a short time, we knew what our purpose was, which is to enable investors achieve financial independence. And as is the case when you're starting any business, you see big things ahead. But where you are at that point, you're dealing with the first project, the second project. So to be honest, the growth has been very good, and we are really grateful, and we thank God, and we thank our investors. The growth has been, in a sense, I dare say, more than what we had seen. God has been very, very faithful. Our investors have been very faithful, and we have seen a lot of growth. We have seen a lot of favor from all fronts. And so we are very, very grateful. So we continue to pursue this purpose. Yes.
It's interesting. You say more than you have seen, but I think she was the doubter. She was the Thomas in the vision. Yesterday, when you were doing the groundbreaking for Savo Rising, I was having a chat with the chef. Our chef, his name is Baraka. He's been catering for us from the very beginning of Savo. And the very first time we had our strategy retreat in end of 2015 or early 2016, I can't remember.
When Baraka was there?
Yes.
2017.
And we were talking about, that time we had not built anything. We were talking about how in a few years we should be having 5,000 apartments, 10,000 apartments, 20,000 apartments. And he called me aside and he said, Mzee, unatumianga hii kitu ama, because we were 8 of us and it didn't make sense. But I think I was clear in my mind that we had cracked onto something that was going to be a big movement. So I'm grateful, but not surprised.
Not surprised. I think, and not to deny, we've impacted a number of lives out there. We've enabled people to actually see that you can actually own an apartment in Nairobi. I think growing up, and as unfortunately, the culture in Kenya, unless uende ujenge huko nyumbani, hapa Nairobi ni kufanya kazi na kukula hiyo pesa ile unafanyia kazi. So I think we've been able to impact a number of lives, just showing people that actually financial independence is real. And I think maybe you can just share a bit of how you got to now financial independence. Why is this important for Kenyans? How was it important for you, and what was that realization that made you realize, okay, this is something that we can offer to other Kenyans to be where you guys are?
Okay. So I think for us, when we started, it was just financial independence for us, the two of us. Of course, our goal at that point was to help us be able to take our children to campus and take them to Harvard. And so we started investing, and we were very diligent in the investment. In time, we learned about financial independence, and we came up with a number, and we knew that time would come when we are able to meet all our needs without the need to work. We're able to meet all our expenses without the need to work. And that's what we were working towards, just for ourselves as a family. And we got there. And when we got there, then Savo was born. Because then we were at a place where we were not depending on a salary to meet our needs. We could start a business. We know the challenges of starting a business, but we had the confidence to start a business knowing that all our expenses were taken care of. That's why financial independence is very important, because then it gives you the freedom to decide what you want to do. It gives you the freedom to pursue your purpose. It gives you the freedom to pursue your passion without feeling like I have to be tied to this job because I need it for my daily livelihood. So Savo started on that basis, and then it's on the back of our personal journey that then we came up with our purpose, which is to enable investors, because we have enjoyed that. And we felt it's very important for every Kenyan to also enjoy this and not feel I have to work because I need the money. If you learn to invest and you learn to get some passive cash flows, it then gives you the freedom to even leave your work and pursue that which you're passionate about. So that's the that's really why we started.
Financial
Savo.
independence.
Yes.
And it's interesting because I wish we had started with financial independence from day one, from August 10th. But we came on going to do a business. So fortunately, we had read, and the book say, start with why. Look for this
What's
big,
your why?
big white hot why, this big thing. And we spent almost 18 months looking for it. You know, and we tried so many things. I think we have shared many times. We looked for so many things and they kept failing. Why? Because the purpose for which we were doing them was not big enough.
Yes.
You go to a place where I asked myself, I'm an architect and I really, really love architecture.
How many people have architectural problems?
Yeah, I just asked, how many people wake their wives up in the middle of the night and say, oh baby, if we had more architecture in our lives would be better. Akuna. People have financial problems, they have health problems, they have relationship problems. I said, we have to go to this thing that everybody has. And somebody said, but you guys, you keep talking about financial independence. Why don't we solve that? But to be fair, it was not us who came up with that idea. And I think that's one of the great strengths of Savo. To someone else. Say, but you guys are enjoying this thing. Why don't we turn this business from an architectural company to provide that solution? You guys have a financial independence through rent and small houses. I mean, that was the light bulb moment. But it took us 18 months of wandering in the darkness to just come to that very simple realization. Once we had it, we knew we had struck gold.
And I think that's a good point. Just being able to understand the why. Why do you do what you're doing? Why do you invest? Being able to define that then now guides your why. I think God has been very grateful to us as Savo. If you are new here and you're just joining or you don't know anything about Savo, we've been able to do the unimaginable. I think when people meet us, earlier years, mtu angefikiria Savo anafikiria ile ya wanyama. But even now, even when people think of Savo, they don't see the magnitude of work that has happened just because of Savo, or the lives that have changed just because of Savo. So we've had enormous growth. I think at the beginning we were starting with a project a year. We got into at least 2 projects in a year, and right now we're about almost a project a month. Maybe you can just touch on something. How do you think we are able to sustain this? Are we able to sustain our growth and not ignoring the fact that the real estate industry has been very, very bad? So many people have lost their hard-earned money. So many people have lost faith in Kenyans and Kenyan developers just because of failed promises. So how are we able to sustain our growth? How are we able to actually tell people what we are doing is actually for the greater good, and this will actually take you to your financial independence?
Okay. Then let's go. I think when you understand the why, it really drives your business. So because we understand our why, which is financial independence, and it's financial independence for our investors, then our investors become very central to the growth that we have. At the beginning, when we were introducing this idea to people, it was us telling people, and then they understand, then they buy in. I remember our first project, we sold to about 23 investors, 28. I think 28 investors in a period of like a year and a half. Yeah, that was our first, because we are the ones who were telling them about it. In time, this gospel has really spread, and so now it's the investors who are driving the growth because they have understood the need, they have understood where financial independence is important for them, and very many of our investors are on that journey, and they know that journey is they're not going to reach when they're doing 1 unit or 2, it's become repetitive. I want to get X number of units. And so they keep investing with us, and they keep investing with us, and they keep introducing other people and referring other people. So they're introducing other people to us to come and invest with us. And so this growth is really, really driven by our investors. Again, at the beginning, you'd find, as I've said, we'd finish a project and it's not fully sold out, especially like your laser. The demand was very high because of the price point. But what I'm trying to say is, at the beginning, we would end up completing a project and would still have some units to sell, even here in Corobes. But now we are at a place where you release a project, and in a month and a half, it is fully taken. So this growth is really, really driven by our investors because they want the units. They want to achieve financial independence. So the investing is everybody realizes they need this, they need to walk this journey, and so they are investing with us. So this growth is really, really, really driven by the demand of our investors. Of course, over time, we've come up with strategies that has made it very easy, even for people to invest. Even just something as simple as the payment plan. How do you make 2 million affordable to many Kenyans? When it's 2 million and it's 2 million cash, it's a bit heavy for many, and so you will not get very many people investing. But then when you come to 20% deposit, then a payment plan that stretches to 5 years, you've increased the number of people who invest. And then now when you come to a strategy where you're saying you don't even need a deposit, with 30,000 you can be able to invest with us, just imagine the number of people who can afford 30,000. So just because of the strategies we have come up with, that has increased the number of people who can afford to invest with us, and therefore increased the demand from investors, who are then driving the growth that we are seeing. Yes.
You see, the results that she's talking about cannot be accidental. The reason Baraka thought we were high on something is because he couldn't understand why you're talking about these numbers and you guys are not there. The Swahili are very interesting. The Wahenga, they are very interesting things. So one of their sayings is, ukiona vyaelea vimeundwa. You see big ships floating in the ocean, they have been crafted. So Savo were very deliberate.
Yeah.
We did not create an institution. We created a movement. So it meant we had to be students of movements. We had to study Mahatma Gandhi. How does a lawyer come from South Africa to India, and within a few years, this one simple fellow has created, without an office, he had no office, he had no title, had created a huge movement. What are these things that made that thing happen? We have to study people like that. Jesus Christ. You start with a ragtag team of 12 people in some Galilean countryside, and 2,000 years later, that thing is still, anybody, whether it's a religious institution or political movement, it's all about a movement. We were fortunate that we grew up in the days when
Equity Bank,
Safaricom, Nairobi Chapel were in their formative stages. And those things really, locally now, those things really, really influenced how we think. We saw Nairobi Chapel telling people, invite one person to church per year. Thinking that time we were like 500 of us. One person to church. When will this thing ever grow? And it's given birth to huge movements, Mavuno and the rest of them. We saw Equity Bank starting.
I'm a
member. What they did were the other banks, and I'm not being paid by this brand, I'm just saying they inspired us. When every bank is focusing on this market segment, and they were closing branches in all towns except the 4 or 5 big cities, Equity Bank went there. And they reached to the unreached and created a phenomenal movement. And those are the things that have inspired us. And we were not just inspired, we went inside to find out, how does this thing happen? I was fortunate to have been mentored by Oscar Muriu, the founder of Nairobi Chapel. And so, you get to smell how greatness, and that time he was a young man, he was in his early 30s. But you get to smell how greatness is created. And those are the things that we have sort of used to create a movement. Because for us, a small drop becomes a little pool, becomes a big torrent. So that's how we think about movement building. So we are grateful, but not surprised. Because this is what we set out to do from the word go.
I think you've said it just right. Ukiona vimelea, jua vimeundwa. Yes. I can see so many people are still joining in. I can see U-Box is asking when will Savo Sunset be ready. We'll touch on that later on. I can see Maureen Chelagat, I can see Jonathan, I can see Remy, I can see Brenda Kinuthia, I can see Evans Musomi, I can see Daisy, Elizabeth and Angela Omolo. So yeah, please let us know that you're watching us. Of course, as I mentioned, this is a very interactive session. Please keep the questions coming. We have our founders here. We are honored to have you guys here. So they'll be able to answer all the questions that you might have. I think today is just about giving clarity. painting the right picture of who Savo is and why we do what we do. If you're just joining in, the link will still be updated, so you'll be able to catch up on what you've missed. I can see a question.
Sorry to cut you.
No worries.
You've mentioned Angela Omolo.
And Luke Okello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Angela Omolo and her sister Sylvia, we were having tea in our office in Park Place. I just known them. And they told me, we really need to be big on earn while you sleep. I said, that's a motto for the lazy. You're encouraging people to be lazy. Financial independence, retire early, that is fire. This is the thing you should focus on. So I really must thank Angela and her sister for telling me to focus on fire as the main thing. And right now it's all about fire. So
And I think we can see how magic happens when people share information. I think us as a country, we have the culture of hoarding.
Yes.
Mtu asijue nafanya hii. Mtu asijue na invest hapa. Mtu asijue how I got there. But you can see how greatness can actually come from a tea conversation. That it's something that is running Savo today. Because our focus is to enable anyone who is a Savorite to gain financial independence. I can see a question from Evans. He's asking what inspired the name Savo. I'm laughing because I have the secret. Yes.
My previous company had a very complicated name. Again, we studied how our names created, how our names of companies created. So you can have the Fords and the rest of them, you can create it after ourselves, but we feel that would be a bit arrogant. You can create a company by what you do. So Microsoft is what they did. Microsystems and software, whatever it is. You can have an idea, something common that you own. Apple, simple fruit, and then the rebellion because the apple is bitten. That's how they go to name it. Alibaba, great story of magic. For us, Amazon was what inspired us. An ecosystem that belongs in a country. Right now, when you say Amazon, nobody thinks of the river and the rest
forest.
of them. They think of the company. So we said, what do we have in Kenya that is big? We had wildlife, we have athletics. Those are the two things that came to mind. Okay, I come from a wildlife zone. So Savo is simple, it's a Kenyan word. Nobody knows what it means. It's not a Kiswahili word, it's not a Kamba word, it's just a word that there is no meaning. Nobody knows the origin, but everybody gets it. And in Savo, you get the elephants, you get the ants, you get the gems, you get the trees, everyone is welcome. And so those are the things that, it took me 5-6 months to actually just get the story together. So again, everything that is seen, there's a deep several month story underneath it. And then it's easy to remember. Of course, it put us into a lot of trouble. Do you want to say the first expo we went to? And the first online thing, the first social media engagement.
Okay. So when we went to the expo, of course, when you're starting a business, you try all marketing initiatives. So when we went to the expo, we had a stand. Of course, it's written Savo.
Financial independence.
Financial independence. There's some building, and everybody who came there, they thought that it's holiday homes in Savo National Park.
And loans.
And loans.
Because
of financial independence. So people thought it's something in the park, it's something to do with holidays, it's something to do with elephants, and it's something to do with financing, like a bank or lending or something like that. So by the time you meet somebody and actually tell them what Savo really is, you've lost them. It's really the very patient who would sit and listen and get it, in time. So I think it really required like a paradigm shift. And we kept at it because we believed in it. We could have easily said it's not working, let's change. But we kept at it with the name, with the purpose, and until it worked. I think when we started advertising online, so
90 degrees.
Yes, we advertising 90. Laser, we did not advertise. So we advertising 90 degrees. The company is called Savo. You're talking about a house for 1.4 million
in
Embakasi, in Nairobi. It just sounded off. So we were just seen as a scam. So very many people wrote back and just said it's a scam and it's a scam and it's a scam. Perhaps they were legit because really it just didn't
There were
sound.
very many scams at
There
that
were
time.
very many scams at that time, and then a house for 1.4 million in Nairobi was so unrealistic. Yeah, and so we actually got off social media for a long time.
About 2 years, yeah.
And then we came back later when now the brand had become bigger and there were more people who knew us, and we actually had buildings to show for what we were doing.
Yeah.
At that point we didn't have, it was
Yeah.
still just a story. So now when we had buildings, we were able to go back to social media. Yes, and here we are.
Yeah, and so of course, with I can see people are very hungry for the new project. Itakuja, ngoja ya kidogo. So also, as we think of the new project, of course, one of the questions that has come up is, funding for this project. Of course, we have been very privileged to crack something that has not been cracked before with a zero deposit, where you can own an apartment from as low as 30,000. Yani, kwa M-Pesa. So as low as 30,000 a month within Nairobi. And so one of the questions is, how are we funding our project? And looking at, of course, we talked about, right now the story is the investors pushing us to actually build more. Yeah, but how are we funding these buildings, and how can we actually assure people that this is a story to last?
Okay.
I think before Emily goes into the details of how we are funding, I would like to refer to, I usually write newsletters. Every 3 months, we write a newsletter to our investors, and maybe the team can post it. So I would like to refer to 2 newsletters. One we wrote early this month, is giving a report of our Q1. And in part of that newsletter, I explained that Savo was designed the fast-paced growth that we are seeing is only the visible part of a well-thought-out strategic, long-term, investor-centric strategy. I think it's important to show that, and actually put in the letter that please expect a lot of growth. Expect to now see, because ilianzia chini, but now it's coming to but these are only the fruits. The seed was planted a long time ago. The mechanisms have been planted a long time ago. So there was a strategy and also a culture, that a strategy, a culture and mechanisms that make this whole strategy be sustainable. So that's what I'm saying. Grateful, but not surprised. The other newsletter I would like to refer to, we sent in end of March 2020, just after the lockdown. So these are 2 different ends of the spectrum. Now when the growth is really big and people are concerned, are you able to sustain it? That time the world was grinding to a halt and everybody was asking, are you able to survive? And we told them, Savo has put together 3 critical things that will make this company survive and thrive in hard times, because we designed this movement as we call it anti-fragile. Yeah, you have the things that are fragile. Anytime there's something wrong, it breaks. You have a nice glass, you let it drop, it breaks. That's fragile. It can't stand disorder. You have things that are robust, like plastic, whether it is a plastic cup, whether things are good or things are bad, the thing doesn't care. But you have things that are anti-fragile, like a wildfire. A candle is fragile, ukipuliza kidogo inazima. A wildfire is anti-fragile. The more wind, the more the thing spreads. And we said for Savo to survive, we put 3 things, part of our strategy is having 3 things that are really central to what we do. Number 1, we do not borrow. We do not use bankers. We do not use equity partners. We do not use financiers. Because using these ones, yes, there is the interest that is a big deal, but the biggest thing, the biggest threat about these guys is it gives you, the developer, a false sense of confidence. You end up developing things that you can't afford. But for us, and Emily will explain, we release projects at the rate of the appetite of the investor. But we don't stop there. We go to the rate of the appetite of the resident. If we think we'll have tenants, then we tell investors we'll release. And the investors buy, then we are able to move. So that's number 1. We do not borrow and we do not get any external financing. So every project you see is done with cash. Number 2, we have buffers. We create cash buffers. Yeah. So whereas most companies have loans, CC, we have cash buffers. Yeah. Now these ones, when things are rough, you have some fat around you that allows you usitikishike. Yeah. You have a moat around you that protects you. So, and we have cash buffers, we have relationship buffers. So everything we do, we will release to the public. The public will see 50, 60, 70% of what we do. We have another 30% tumeshikilia wenyewe in case things are hard. We know we are able to do this. Now, this thinking, because we've been doing it for a long time and we have a payment plan, we finished our first project when? 2018?
2018.
5 years ago. Remember, we have a 5-year payment plan. Yeah? So, the project that we finished 5 years ago, saizi ndo wanamalizia kufanya nini? Kulipa. So we still have so many projects that people are paying. Where's that money going? I don't dress fancy, I don't live fancy. So all that money does what? Comes back into the company to build our buffers. Then this, what does it do? It propels growth. That's number 2. Number 3, which for me I think is the most important thing, is the Savo rights. It is you, Martha, and all these good people behind the camera, and all the guys who are in the office today on our holiday, and all the people the investors have met. It is building the movement, remember? It is building the movement, which is putting that idea in the hearts and minds of men and women. That trinity of 3 factors, having the people right, having the strategy that we don't borrow, and we always have buffers around us, that is what I know will sustain this thing. Because our growth, every project has to stand on its own. So whereas everybody sees all the projects together, for us, we analyze each project. Yeah. And maybe as you talk about how we fund, you can say even our sales levels. He said we need to have projects that are unsold at completion. But right now, maybe you can share. Yeah.
I don't even know what to add. But yeah, so in summary, that's really it. First, don't borrow. And I mean, everybody will ask us who are your financiers. Yeah, and it sounds good for all real estate companies to say we are funded by, but for us we made a very clear decision from the very beginning that we will not borrow. Of course, the risks are too many. You even introduce risk into the business, and when you introduce risk into the business, if something happens, then you're exposed. Yeah, and then the other thing is, of course, because of interest, even the price point will not be the price point that you our investors are enjoying today. If we were borrowing and we had interest, the unit for 2 million will probably be 3 million. Yeah, so because we want that it's affordable for you, and we're doing this for you and not for the financier, then cut the financier out, come to you directly, you pay, we build, you buy it at 2 million and not 3 million. So you end up getting a very good deal even as an investor. So borrowing has those risks. As you said, just being overconfident, building without knowing who you'll sell to. How many developers do we see for sale signs way after the project is done? Yeah, but
the project is complete.
Complete, yes.
In Savo, you never even see a to let sign in a complete building.
Leave alone for sale. Yeah, so that really helps. And so all this money that Mr. Nchari is talking about, I mean, from all the way from 90, we still have cash flows coming in up to now. And these cash flows, where are they going to? These new projects we have sold, and we sold 100%, but we also have cash flows from past projects. So when you put these two together, then you are able to comfortably fund these projects. Yeah, and the reason why the growth will continue even more is that even these projects that we've released now are all on 5-year payment plan. So the cash flows just stretch way into the future. Yeah, and of course with the mentality of being frugal and just spending on the building and the building only, just allows us to continue building our cash buffers, to make sure that when something happens, we actually have enough cash buffers to support us and to make sure that we are able to stand. Yes, so all these new projects fully sold out. You know, when you release a new project, the other one is fully sold out. And I think because of the credibility and that we've always been able to deliver, even the track record of our investors in terms of payment is just getting better. You know, people are able to pay their monthly payments faithfully. Yeah, and it's from that then that we're able to continue building the buffers and continue building. Yes.
And I think just to thank you for that, and just to add on, you know, the fact that people have already started enjoying their financial independence. So there are projects that reality on ground, they're getting able to, yes.
To buy. Yes.
I think another question that pops up a lot is why off plan. Yeah, I think I usually see very funny comments. Sorry to say, let me just call them funny. You know, why using our funds to build? Mbona msituuzie sasa ile mshajenga? So such comments come up, and maybe it's something you could address.
I think I'd alluded to that a bit. If we were to say we build and finish, that means we have borrowed, we have interest, and so I'll be selling to you this complete unit at 3 million instead of 2. So why off plan? It's because we've said remove the middleman, right? Remove the middleman, come to you directly, pay as we build, and then get the unit at a much more affordable rate. And that fast tracks your financial independence. It fast tracks your financial independence because that addition 1 million that you have saved can go to another unit. So that's really the reason for off plan. And then now increasingly the demand is just so high. We never have any complete units. Yeah. So even if I wanted to sell to you a complete unit today, they were sold out before I hit fast flow, So the units go really fast. By the time the building is complete, I just don't have any units. Hence the reason for off plan. And I think just because of the track record, then off plan ceases to be like an area of fear because we have delivered from the very first one to the last, to the 7th. Yes. Yeah.
Martha, the real estate in this world does not belong to the investors who out there are called buyers. Does not belong to the developers. Real estate out there belongs to banks. I know I've used Equity Bank as an inspiration, but these are the guys who own all the real estate. Why? I want to buy land, I go to the bank, I borrow. Then I want to develop, I put together this complicated business plan with 59 pages and all manner of things. I go to the bank and I borrow. And then the building is complete, I go to that person, the lady or gentleman who is asking, I tell them, sasa wewe, kuna 3 million hapa, I will organize with you with the bank. You understand? Who owns the title deed for the house?
The bank.
The bank. Who owns the title deed for the house that you have bought? The bank. You do not own that unit. But sisi, tumesema, that guy is the only beneficiary in this whole scenario. And what are they bringing to the table? Nothing. If they bring money, ultimately the money comes from the buyer. So why don't you go to the buyer, turn the buyer into an investor? Because every time you think about an investor, you're thinking about what people from outside the country with suits coming and telling you to ambazo mwelewi. Why? Why don't you become the investor? So that was our thinking. Get the unnecessary middlemen who have preconditioned our thinking and brought this thing that we all love called the mortgage. And I've always said, mortgage, look at the spelling. If you don't know the meaning, look at the spelling of any word. It will tell you a lot. M-O-R-T. Mortain, doom, mortuary, mortality. Zote tunizo. Get that thing out of the way. Yeah? Now, Sisi, once you've done that, once you've removed deposit, once you've removed the need for collateral, that's another thing we really struggled when you're young. Atuna. So people come to us, sina deposit, sina collateral, sina nini, niko na 30K, 35K, 40K, 50K a month. Very good. This is money that can be blown on a Friday night. And people are coming and they are changing their lifestyles and lives are being impacted. That is why we do what we do. So ukiona vielea vimeundwa, we are grateful but not surprised. Why? We have understood what makes this whole financial thing in this world run.
Yeah. I think what I like what you've said is Savo is all about enabling. Sina, tutakupea njia. Sijawai, tutakupea njia. So even when you think of our purpose, enabling investors, giving you an opportunity to actually do, to actually become, to actually think differently, that you wewe kwa investors sasa. Yeah, I think I can see a number of comments. Just allow me to go through them. I can see, I hope I'm saying your name right. Audiskuwimana. Akiwoi. I like how you do it as a couple. It's so inspiring. I can see Kenya Karimi. Proud of you guys. I can see Joshua Kikuvi, Nchara and Emily. I really like the 5-year strategic thinking about how you have crafted the anti-fragileness of Savo. Of course, Joshua is one of our investors. I can see Tony Njeru. He's saying, have you faced any legal challenges regarding land you buy for your projects. Maybe that's something you can touch on as I read the last comment. Oh, I can see also Bill has put on the fire. Of course, if you're just joining us, the link will still be available after the live. We've also included a link to our quarterly letters that we do. Just go through them. It gives you a perspective of why we do what we do, why we are where we are now, and gives you a bit more confidence. Of course, it's handwritten by Mcharo. And yeah, I think you guys can address, have we faced any legal challenges so far? Yeah. With the
local law. Okay. No. And we've been very intentional around due diligence. We've been very, very intentional and very thorough with our due diligence process. Actually, before we sign on any land, it takes so much time to get to a place you're saying, we are ready, we are happy, let's proceed. We're not in a hurry to sign on with anyone until we are certain that all the legal angles have been looked at, the due diligence has been properly done. And so no, we haven't had any legal challenges with the parcels of land we developed on. Yes. And again, due diligence. Yes.
Waje tuambie wanaume, those who want to marry. Kuoa bibi kama huyu iko na uzuri at the end, lakini iko na mashida tu mingi. Waje niwaambie.
Sure.
This woman says no to everything. Here is land, I found land is like, no. Why? We will be sued. Why? And so her takeoff point to any matter under the sun is that we are going into risk. Anything we want to excavate, no, there's a risk. That's the bad bit. Because as a man, I can't move at my speed. Unaona, yeye ndio braking. Kama kwenye gari, siku hizi wametoa clutch, kuna accelerator, hiyo ni mimi, number 1. Brake ni yeye, na ukiingia kwenye hiyo gari, brake wage imekanyagwa. So, that really used to annoy me. And I think it's been the cause of most of our fights. Ni nini wewe madam? Si upende bana. But because of that, even our lawyers, I think they need to be so harassed, but I think they wameshazoea. Yeah. There is so much work that goes into just crossing the T. You ukisikia crossing the T's. And let me give you a story. She when she joined one of the big banks, she took care. You're in charge of an audit.
Yes.
And there's this old Mzungu retired guy. I think he used to work for PwC, but now he's consulting for the bank. He picked out 600 and something mistakes in her first report.
The financial statement.
The financial statement.
Yeah, and they're all
handwritten and commas and spellings and accounting standards. The guy was doing those things in pencil. And she said, never again. And that's where we are now. Even my life is crossed with T's and dots. But anyway. Yeah. And that's why, again, grateful, not surprised. Yes. Yeah.
Of course, with that, we've been able to survive. That's why we are here. Yeah, I think us as internal Savo rights, we see the work that goes through for us to get even to a project. Kuna kazi.
But the thing people need to realize is the things people are seeing as complete building were conceived in 2019, 2018. The thing that people are seeing as popping up were conceived 3-4 years ago. Our minds are in 2026, 2027, 2028. That's what we are working on now. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's refreshing, but not surprising because we put in the work a long time ago. Yeah.
I can still see comments coming in. I think Agape saying, proud of you guys. How much, Dr. Wright is saying, how much can one start with, and do you have plans in Kitengela? We'll talk about the location first, but maybe I can just say you can start from as low as 30,000. I can see even our team has responded to you, but our founders will talk about location. I can see Cess is saying, as a new investor, I'm glad to see the vision from the owners. Lovely couple. Dr. Wright is saying, how long will it take for a 2-bedroom to start with, and for how long? So a 2-bedroom, the lowest is usually about 65. But we'll give, don't worry, naingia kwa hiyo section in a few. So maybe you can touch on location as we clear up. Yes. So why are we not in Kitengela?
Why are we not in Kitengela? Okay. So that's his area. So I'll just say a little, then he'll take over. I think location, ultimately, remember the goal, ultimately is financial independence. So ultimately it's passive cash flows. And these passive cash flows you will only get from the resident, what most of us call tenants. We call ours residents. Ultimately, it will come from the resident. So we are very particular about the location to make sure we are in areas where we will be at 100% occupancy with no struggle. You'll put up a building, you've completed it, and they will move in. Immediately you finish it, in 2, 3 months, 4 months tops, it's fully occupied, with 100% occupancy rate. That is the reason. And now look at the profile of our resident. It's a young guy. There's something some charities calls minimum staggering distance. They want to be as close to the roads as possible. They want to be able to get an Uber as quickly as possible. They want to be able to dash into town very quickly. So people want amenities, infrastructure, just locations that are really, really prime. So that's why we focus on really, really prime locations. Kiambu Road, Thika Road, Roysambu there, Mombasa Road up to Cabanas. So very, very close to town. Of course, in time we'll go to, now we're in Riruta, Skywalk on Gong Road. Lower Kabete would be nice, in time. So areas like that. Now, for me and him, if you're thinking about a home, Kitengela is okay. It's okay for a home. Or even if I own an entire building, Kitengela is probably okay with occupancy rate of 80%. Right?
90%.
Or 90%.
Or rents that are a little lower.
Or rents that are a little lower. Kitengela then would be okay. But because we want 100% occupancy, we want a certain number of rent, a high rent, then Kitengela is not ideal. Yes. A good location, but not for what we are doing. Yes.
Yeah.
There's one more question. What's your view on property insurance and force majeure? And force majeure.
Insurance, when you're building, it's prudent, the risk girl, it's prudent to take insurance. So when you're building, we have insurance for the building. Yeah, and even after we finished building and now we are renting the apartments, then we take insurance for the building. Just in case anything happens, you have insured the building and therefore you can be compensated. Yes. That's my view on property insurance. Yes. Force majeure, they are called black swans, events that you could not have foreseen. COVID was a force majeure. I think that's in our lifetime, that's what we have seen. Of course, September 11th in the US, that was a force majeure. But for us, COVID was a force majeure. So events that you could not have foreseen, you couldn't have prevented. And for those events, that's where your buffers come in. That's where your buffers come in. And you can't have your buffers when the event happens. You can't prepare for it when the event happens. You need to have prepared for it way earlier. So we sit knowing a black swan will happen any day. So be ready.
That we don't know.
Something huge that we don't know, and there's no way to prepare for it, right? So just create a moat around yourself, which is now having buffers. Yes.
It's interesting that this is called acts of God in law, and when they happen, you say Shetani yashindwe. Yeah.
I think we've been able to answer, most of the questions. Regarding the new project, of course, I'll deal with that. For now, I think I want you guys to talk about the new giant in Thindigwa, Savo Sunset, which we have just completed. Yeah.
Yes. We have this. I can see her from here. Always say she's as elegant as she's dominant. It's a huge building, but I think absolutely wonderful. One of the things I am most proud about, it is our best built building so far. Best finished. NCA came to study the structure and they were wondering, mbona mmeweka chuma mingi hivi NCA? And they used it as an example of how buildings should be done. Yeah. And we were very grateful. I made a mistake in Sunset. I've been seeing a lot of emails within and WhatsApp groups. By the way, for our viewers, Savo is the most self-critical company I think that exists in this country. We bash each other like we're enemies. My investor has asked me a question, what's wrong with the rest of you? And there have been a lot of war and hit. But I think the mistake was mine. Every investor knows, especially those who came in a little earlier, the finishing date was to be December 2023. Because the project started in June 2021. So we give it 2.5 years,
Yeah.
which is our standard
Period.
That's our standard period.
Yeah.
30 months. So tukaanza, after about a year,
We saw
the pace was so fast. By June last year, we had done the structure. We had done excavations and structure, complete in 1 year. So I, with my arrogance, I talked about self-confidence. That's a bad thing. I came, I said, no, let us reduce this thing from 2023 to December 2022. I think everybody saw that letter.
Yes.
And my wife, with her breaks, came and said, you will put us into trouble.
Yeah.
And I came with my wanaume and testosterone and said, no, I have said and I have said. And so we brought it to December. I somehow thought 6 months was going to be enough to do the finishes. And then at that point, we were doing the finishes for Skywalk. And we realized it is not an easy thing to do finishes well. And Skywalk was chaotic. It came out okay, but the process was chaotic. So come, I think November, December, I think October, November, I told guys, no, let's just finish this building properly. So let's try and get another 3 months. So that's why it came to,
March.
but I think it didn't happen. So I think it will be done in end of this month, I think. But I think, but from then on, all our projects now are 30 months in the contract. So even if we finish 6 months, 8 months earlier, we'll be okay. Now, according to that era of mine of bringing the completion date to December 2023, we are very late. But let's think about it. We started this thing in mid-June of 2021. We are now the 3rd week of April. So we are finishing our 21st month.
Yeah.
So we are not yet 2 years into sunset. It's actually 1 year, 1 year, 10 months. We are about to do 1 year, 10 months. Which in normal construction time for a project of that magnitude, I think we are very, very good. The mistake is I communicated wrong. And that is not a Savo thing. That is a Leonard Mcharo thing. So I had wanted to apologize to the team in the WhatsApp groups, but I said, no, let me just watch these people bash each other. But I am apologizing to the team here. I'm apologizing to the investors. I really must apologize to Faith, the architect, and the team. I was walking around last night at about 8:30, and the team was leaving site to come and have dinner and go back. Yeah, so people are working day and night. So I think that was a mistake, which I must apologize for. We have made good. Again, buffers. I removed the buffer that we had.
A whole year.
I removed a whole year, which bravado is a dangerous thing. So that I really honor. But to our investors, tunamalizia this 1 week. I think by the end of the month, we should be done. Most of the work is actually done. Yeah. So there'll be touch-ups here and there, but I think
it's done.
It's done. The building is done.
We should start letting in on 1st of May.
Yeah, I think thank you so much for that. I with our track record, this is a first that has happened, that we've switched dates and then something happened. But just to assure even the people who are listening in, we have gone into a different level of completion. So as we started, we were just showing people that we can actually build. Right now, we want to actualize the affordable, amazing apartments. Yeah. Yes. So if you have time, even today, you can walk, come and see what we've done. Come and see the finishes. Come and see Coral and compare it to Sunset. And then you'll understand what it takes for us to just go a notch higher to improve that finish. Yeah.
On this. The main thing that is really delaying Sunset is the levels of approvals that are required. So the builders finish, the architect and her team check to make sure everything is done. The property lifestyle comes. The caretaker who's going to take over the building comes. So there are so many people who are. So it's really snagging. So I was telling the architect, forgive me, that this nagging sounds like nagging. It's 2v2. I think that's what is taking a lot of time. But I think our investors and residents will be the happier for it. Yeah.
I think I can see a number of comments. Maybe I can just read before I let you go. I can see Christina Gunda. She's also an investor. I'm an investor, and let me assure you, it's working. Don't be afraid to invest. I can see Florence. She's saying, I am investor with Savo and also plan to take another unit. Trust the process. I can see Caleb. He's saying, awesome project, awesome sales team. Keep moving. I can see Sabina. She's saying, thank you, the Mcharos. You have made my dreams come true. I can see Finn. Good explanation about Savo Sunset. I've invested in phase 2. I can see Mark is saying locked in from Sunset by Savo, so that's where we're going. I can see Florence is talking about the title. She doesn't have the title. Florence, I think I know you. I think you've invested in Skywalk, if I'm not wrong. Maybe you can just touch a bit on the changes that are happening with the titles. And then, so Ruben is saying, talk about Rising. Ruben, rising hata ilishaenda. It is setting. It stopped rising. I can see Florence have not gotten my title, please advise. So maybe you can just touch a bit on the changes we've done in Skywalk with title deeds. And then for Ruben, I think you will get to listen to the new project in the next few minutes.
So titles. I mean, you know, like
the books of titles.
Yeah. We will take pictures.
Call us one day to have one of these things with title.
And so previously we used to give subleases, and the process of subleases was very easy. You'd finish, you pay your stamp duty, and easily you get your subleases. Now the government changed the rules. We are supposed to give sectional titles. And the process for sectional titles is a little longer than for sublease, and it requires, what does Thomas do? It requires survey work, doing like sectional plans after the building is complete. It needs approval by Survey of Kenya. It just
your plot usually has beacons.
Yes.
So now even your apartment will have beacons.
Will have something like that. Yeah. So the process is just longer than before, and then it was new. Yeah, it's new. Not everybody knows how it's being done. So we started with Savo Studios. I think Savo Studios was the first one to be affected, and we've run with that process, and now we are very happy that we have received the title deeds for Savo Studios. Yes? Yeah. So what happens now is
that makes... Why didn't we come with the boxes of titles?
Oh, yeah.
It is one of the best news ever.
Yeah. So what happens, you get about 250 titles for the entire project in the name of Savo Studios, and then after that it's just now transferring each title to an individual investor. So we've made fantastic progress. We are happy with Savo Studios. Skywalk as well, where she has invested. We are at the very tail end. Even the Skywalk title should be coming out very, very soon.
Now.
We are at the very tail end. What we did is we tried to, because we are the pioneers really.
We are actually in the whole country.
Yes.
Savo is right at the forefront.
At the forefront, yeah. Just considering the size of our projects, the size of our units, and our commitment to our investors. So it's something that we have really, really pushed. So Skywalk also will be coming out soon. Yes.
Even Sunset. Most of the work from our end, all the work has been done. We have loaded that to government.
Yes.
So we really... I think because it was new and government processes are not straightforward and it requires technology and this, I don't know, and all manner of things, it was not yet ready.
Yes.
But I think it is better than the sublease. It's a much better, and for us, it's very nice to show this document with a red stamp called title. This is so. I demand a webinar with the titles.
The sublease was just a document. Yes. So you're not getting a title for your unit. Yes.
I think we've been able to capture most of the questions. I'm very, very grateful to have you guys here. It has been an honor. I think we have been able to hear the vision from the visionaries themselves. I think for those who've joined us, they've benefited from your wisdom and just, painting a picture of who Savo is. We have seen what we've done to people. People have shared their testimonials on what Savo has done for them, and we hope to keep doing this. And we just want to guarantee everyone that this is a movement that we actually want to help every Kenyan, by the way, ufike to financial independence, so that money conversations stop being vitu zile zinafichwa kwa mattress. People can actually talk about things and invest and be bold about it. Yeah, I think we're going into the next session, which is very exciting.
Bado.
I think what people have waited for the most, even the internal Savorites, have no clue. But before we get into that, sasa tunawapea nafasi ya kumalizia.
Regarding the growth of Savo, the whole design of this thing is to be like Safaricom, like M-Pesa, where in every home in this country and in the region, somebody will be using our product. Either you live in a Savo house, or you work at Savo, or any mtu wa mkono at Savo, or you own a Savo apartment, or you live in a Savo home, or you are being sponsored to school by the Ignite movement. We want to, with the Ignite scholarships, we want to build that to be one of the biggest. When I'm mentioning these companies, Safaricom, Equity, Kenya Commercial Bank, that is where we see ourselves. And I'm saying this without any fear of contradiction. That is how, and it will take time. Kenya Commercial Bank was not formed last week. It's been there for 100 years. Yeah. So when you see us grow, please realize just who are we targeting? The young people to come and live with us. How many are they? 51% of the Kenyans are within the age bracket that we are targeting. 51% of the Kenyans. That's a lot. The government has a target of 200,000 units. Actually, it's not even the government has a target. The shortfall of housing is 200,000 units per year. Yeah, it's been that number for the last, so maybe it's not even more.
Yeah.
We have not scratched the surface. Our role in all this thing is to ensure that we do that well. We do that with financial prudence to protect the people living in those houses, to protect the investors' money. That's our role. We are midwives to these things because the children will be born. People need a place to stay. Either ni sisi, ama ni wengi, ama ni wengine. So we have chosen to be the midwives, to move you from a life of consumerism to a life of financial independence. We don't want to do that to 500 people. We want to do that to the millions of Kenyans that are in that particular age bracket. We want to house people with dignity. How many of us lived in Sava's quarters and in bad houses with mold and all manner of things? Extensions. Why can't we live...
And prefabs.
And prefabs. Why can't somebody leave college and come and live in a good place with dignity, have the same feeling as the person living in Lavington, affordably? You know, look at the phones we have. You have your HTC, you have your Oppo, you have the same dignity as the person with an Apple. Why? I can take the pictures, I can do Instagram, I can do all these things. That is what we want to do. We are inspired by WhatsApp and by Facebook, by all these amazing products that we can all access affordably. So let's remove the lie that has been fed to us all those years, that is only the high and mighty and very limited who are able to do big things. When we see Chinese coming here, with all due respect to the Chinese, and doing thousands of houses, we don't question them. Why can't Kenyans do these things? And I want to challenge every entrepreneur who is watching me. You are Kenyan, get the guts and go big, but don't go big with bravado. Go big by being humble and understanding what makes things work. Can I rest my case?
Okay. Hey, there's nothing I can add. I think I'll just say thank you. Thanks to all the people viewing who've joined in, and thank you to all our investors, upwards of close to 3,000 now. Yeah, thank you to all our investors. I maybe want to just say that continue being our biggest critique, continue questioning, continue asking, continue pointing out, whatever it is that you see, whether good, whether bad. And thank you to our investors. I mean, that's all I will say. Yes. And I'll continue being the no sayer.
Yes.
I'm a no woman.
Yes. We did that, don't worry. Thank you so much. I think we are honored to have you here. You have sacrificed time to just paint this picture. We don't take it for granted. I would like to have the media team to play something for us as we launch our new baby. I'm usually very happy on this sector. Tuingia sasa maneno ya sales. Sawa, asanteni.
When it comes to investing in real estate, there are a few key factors that can make all the difference. And our newest project, Savo Divine, has them all. First, location. Savo Divine is perfectly situated near USIU in Roysambu along Thika Road, giving residents easy access to the CBD, all the amenities and opportunities the area has to offer. Second, community. At Savo Divine, we've designed the apartment for a vibrant community of university students and young professionals alike, with communal areas, co-working spaces, and spaces to build, enhance, and promote communities. Savo Divine offers an affordable payment plan of up to 5 years, with studio apartments starting at 2.1 million Kenyan shillings, superior studios at 2.6 million Kenyan shillings, and one-bedroom units at 3.1 million Kenyan shillings. The biggest setback to investing in real estate is deposit. And the good news is, you don't need a deposit to start investing in these projects. Just divide the price by the number of months you want to pay. Investing in real estate has never been easier. If you're looking for an investment property that checks all the boxes, look no further than Savo Divine. Visit www.savo.ke to get started on your investment journey.
Owning your first apartment in Nairobi has never been easier. It's simple. With zero deposit and 0% interest rate, you can pay as little as 30,000 per month for up to 5 years. Just divide the price by the number of months you want to pay. Visit www.savo.ke to learn more.
Very well, welcome to everyone who's joining us right now. Thank you to everyone who has seated through this live. Today we had an amazing session with our founders, Leonard Mcharo and Emily Mcharo. It has been amazing. They've been able to paint the vision of Savo. They've been able to answer all your questions. Na sasa ndio mnaniona. I'm so excited today. Just sitting here and actually seeing what we've done. Yes, Mcharo has really insisted. Whatever you see today is something that was planted years and years ago. And I personally, I feel so privileged to seeing what we planted those years ago come to life. And now planting new seeds for the future of Savo. One of the greatest things about Savo, akipole, leo sauti ilienda, but mutaniona tu. One of the greatest things about Savo is it's a data-driven company. Yeah. So yes, we have our vision, we have everything that we've pitched and our purpose to enable investors achieve financial independence. But we don't do this blindly. So we are very keen on the locations we pick. We are very keen on the locations we pick. So when you're thinking of real estate, 3 things: location, location, location. Because that sorts out convenience, that sorts out the price point, that sorts out the return on investment. It sorts out everything to do with you as an investor in real estate. And so we're so excited to have another child on Thika Road. If you're familiar with what we've done so far, we have about 4 phases in Roysambu along Lumumba Drive, just behind TRM. But this time we've gone a bit posh. We've gone a bit posh. We are on the Safari Park walk. Unatembea huko kwa tarmac. So very close to USIU, we have our newest baby in town. This is our 16th project in the 8 years of existence. Sijui kama mnakumbuka ile wimbo ya double portioni. So 8 and 16. Tuko hapo. So this is our 16th project and I want to release to you Savo Divine. Savo Divine, yani it's divine. Vile tu ina sound hivyo. Yeah. So we have an amazing complex coming near USIU. We'll have about 900 units. This will be our biggest project yet. And so without further ado, wacha niwape sasa price point. So our model is still the same. There we'll do studios, superior studios, and 1 bedrooms. Why these options? So as Mcharo has mentioned, 51% of the population in Kenya is below the ages of 35, meaning the need for housing for these young people is very, very high. And so when you select a location, then the demand for that location from a tenancy perspective drives our decision on the design. Yeah. And so we're looking at very young people, either in campus, of course, USIU, or straight from campus in their first jobs. And if you look at the people living along Thika Road, I myself have lived along Thika Road. And so Thika Road is, and specifically Roysambu, is a very interesting location because majority of people who graduate along Thika Road maintain their lives along Thika Road. So from JKUAT to Kenyatta University to KCA, Park University, USIU. So all these people still maintain their lives along Thika Road, their early lives per se, just because of the convenience. So you're very close to town. Of course, you're on the superhighway, so it's very fast. And yeah, life is quite interesting. I lived there for quite some time. And so at Savo Divine, we'll have studios going for 2.1 million. A studio, I hope everyone is familiar with what. We'll be able to just share the different options. I think we can present the projects on the screen, the unit types, sorry. So we'll have studios at 2.1 million. We have something called a superior studio. So a superior studio is just slightly bigger, going for 2.6. And then we'll have 1 bedrooms going for 3.1 million. Yeah. So with this, we still have the zero deposit option, meaning you can take the 2.6 and spread it over up to 5 years. So say, for example, you're taking a studio at 2.1, you can start from as low as 35,000 a month for 5 years. If you're taking a superior studio, you can start from as low as 44,000 a month. And if you're doing a 1 bedroom, you can start from as low as 52,000 a month. So if you're looking at the return on investment, of course, we've been able to go to the ground and just do a proper survey of what could be. We've estimated it could be higher. So looking at our past records, every time we launch a project, upon completion, what we had promised as the rent slightly increases. So it can increase by 500 to 1,000, depending on the market rate then, yeah? But we give an amount that is the bare minimum, meaning after construction, liwe liwalo, that is the expected rent that you will receive. So when you're looking at the rent side, we have studios going for 2.1, you'll get 15,500. If you're taking the superior studios at 2.6, you'll get 19,500. And if you're taking the 1 bedroom at 3.1, you'll get 23,500. As I've said, this is a zero deposit option. So please, we are launching it to the market today. Start kimbilieni before ishe. I think I saw a comment regarding rising. So right now, because we have the zero deposit plan, by the time we are launching a project into the market, the demand is very, very high. Unlike what we used to have before, a project could take probably like 6 months to just sell out. But right now, because it is as easy as 30,000 a month, very many people can quickly afford. Yeah. So if you're watching this, you need to make a decision as soon as possible. Maybe just to touch on the different amenities that we'll have at Savo Divine. I think it has been long overdue since we did a swimming pool. So we have a swimming pool at the rooftop, just like Coral Belts. So Coral Belts is where we are. So we have a pool at the top. We'll have lifts. We'll have backup generators. We'll have a borehole, of course, for water. We'll have ample parking. We have the biometric systems at the gate. We'll have, this time we're actually introducing a co-working space. These are not sellable spaces. These are only to let. And we hope to just create a community for our residents. If you're working from home, of course, you have sufficient space beyond your house to actually comfortably work. We'll also have, of course, the restaurants, the mini marts, and all these are just rented space. Yeah. So based on the different, based on the different commercial spaces that will be there, yeah, we'll be able now to rent them out depending on the space. I think I'll dive directly into the comments. I can see, Finn, why are your prices constantly rising, like Savo rising? As is now, we've really tried to balance our range. Yeah, Savo rising was sort of in the slightly upper market. If you look at someone who was buying something in Savo rising, what you're buying, for example, what you would have bought in Thindigwa at 1.8 to get 13.5, as you go to rising, you get it at 2.2 to get 16,000. So we usually balance the price with the return on investment. So there are other locations that will give you slightly higher returns that will also guide the price point. And of course, not ignoring the fact of, the state of the economy. So everything is going up, the cost of materials, the cost of steel. So we are trying to just factor that, but still try to balance, a safe, sort of a sweet spot. So we are still in the range of about 1.8 to 2 million for a studio. and around 2.8 to 3 million for a 1 bedroom. Yeah. So other locations might be slightly lower. So if you're, for example, purchasing something in a Bakassi, it would be slightly lower just because the rents are also slightly lower, but the returns are the same. So what we normally try to balance is if an investor is buying in this location and another investor is buying in a different location, the return on investment in a Savo house is standard. Meaning, because you bought in another location does not mean you'll get anything more than someone who bought in a different location. Yeah. And our hope is, as we are developing, we want to get to a point where we actualize this movement, that FIRE movement becomes real for investors, for Kenyans, for anyone who is interested in investing in Savo. And what does that mean? You know, by making it real, then it means it becomes beyond a location. It stops being a location problem, and it becomes a Savo. You know, where is Savo building next, so that I can invest. Yeah. Of course, we do data very, very well, and so by the time we are going into a certain location, we are guaranteeing you that this will give you the best yields. Yeah. I hope, Finn, I've been able to answer you. I can see Agnes saying Elizabeth Kamene. I can see AKB Center, 1 bedroom upper floor. I can see Fidel. Thank you for joining. I can see Elizabeth saying, thank you, Savo. I'm a happy new investor. Beatrice is saying divine is divining. I can see saying, Finn, wow, awesome location. How much I think I've been able to share. Also, our team is sharing on the screen all the data on that. I think, Ruben, I hope Divine will be an answer for you now that Savo Rising is sold out. I think I've been able to answer most of the questions. So on the screen are all the options that we have. Please run. If you have a FIRE partner who will guide you, kindly reach out. All our FIRE partners will also actively reach out to you. My number as well is on the screen. Kindly reach out to me. My number is 0727 648 552. My email is also there, martha@savo.ke. I'll personally be happy to take you through this investment journey, and we hope to have everyone across the board to financial independence. I think we have been able to cover everything and read all the comments. I want to say thank you so much for everyone who's taken time to join in. Please spread the message, spread this great news. Let people actually invest and then get to a point of earn while you sleep. I'm very grateful, and until next time, thank you so much.
To reintroduce myself. Mic check. Mic check. So welcome to this amazing session, people, where we tell you who we are, because a lot of you have been asking, who is Savo and what does Savo do? So Savo is a real estate investment company that designs, sells, builds and manages affordable, amazing apartments. We have 6 complete projects here in Nairobi, starting with Laser Place Rongai, then 90 Degrees by Savo, then Coral Bells by Savo in Thedegwa, then Savo Studios back in Embakasi. We went to Roysambu with Royal Suburbs, and then Savo Skywalk in Gong Road, and of course our up and coming baby, Savo Sunset. So thank you guys for your time, and I can't wait for me to tell you more about us. See you next time, guys.
When it comes to investing in real estate, there are a few key factors that can make all the difference, and our newest project, Savo Divine, has them all. First, location. Savo Divine is perfectly situated near USIU in Roysambu along Thika Road, giving residents easy access to the CBD, all the amenities and opportunities the area has to offer. Second, community. At Savo Divine, we've designed the apartment for a vibrant community of university students and young professionals alike, with communal areas, co-working spaces, and spaces to build, enhance, and promote communities. Savo Divine offers offers an affordable payment plan of up to 5 years with studio apartments starting at 2.1 million Kenyan shillings, superior studios at 2.6 million Kenyan shillings, and one-bedroom units at 3.1 million Kenyan shillings. The biggest setback to investing in real estate is deposit. The good news is you don't need a deposit to start investing in these projects. Just divide the price by the number of months you want to pay. Investing in real estate has never been easier. If you're looking for an investment property that checks all the boxes, look no further than Savo Divine. Visit www.savo.ke to get started on your investment journey. When it comes to investing in real estate, there are a few key factors that can make all the difference, and our newest project, Savo Divine, has them all. First, location. Savo Divine is perfectly situated near USIU in Roysambu along Thika Road, giving residents easy access to the CBD, all the amenities and opportunities the area has to offer. Second, community. At Savo Divine, we've designed the apartment for a vibrant community of university students and young professionals alike, with communal areas, co-working spaces, and spaces to build, enhance, and promote communities. Savo Divine offers an affordable payment plan of up to 5 years with studio apartments starting at 2.1 million Kenyan shillings, superior studios at 2.6 million Kenyan shillings, and one-bedroom units at 3.1 million Kenyan shillings. The biggest setback to investing in real estate is deposit. The good news is you don't need a deposit to start investing in these projects. Just divide the price by the number of months you want to pay. Investing in real estate has never been easier. If you're looking for an investment property that checks all the boxes, look no further than Savo Divine. Visit www.savo.ke to get started on your investment journey.
Owning your first apartment in Nairobi has never been easier. It's simple. With zero deposit and 0% interest rate, you can pay as little as 30,000 per month for up to 5 years. Just divide the price by the number of months you want to pay. Visit www.savo.ke to learn more.